Hi, I'm Don from DonDronesOn. A lot of people out there just absolutely love Drone Pilot Canada. And today I have a special treat. We get to meet the wizard behind the curtain, the software developer for the Drone Pilot Canada app, Larry Dunkelman. Here's Larry.
Thanks, Don. I don't think I call myself a wizard, but anyways, thanks for the shout out.
Well, we're both old enough to be wizards. You know, we just need a funny hat.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. So, we have known each other. I think it must be almost 20 years now.
For sure. No, for sure. I remember we worked together at a telecommunications company here in Ottawa.
Yep.
I think you were in quality and I was on the development side. We butted heads sometimes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And then I think somewhere towards many years later, about 10 years later, I think we collaborated on an app. You had an idea for an app, which is a novel idea. You had an idea for an app, and we wrote it. I wrote it, and you designed it. And
yeah, that was cool. That was what, probably 10 years ago that we worked on that.
Close to 10 years.
Yeah. And I remember that it was a great app. Like, it was absolutely fantastic.
It was brilliant. It was a brilliant app.
The catch is, and I remember we were proposing to take it out to customers of the company that we talked to. But at the time, the biggest issue was, but they would need a smartphone.
That's right. The biggest hurdle they thought was, well, people won't have smartphones. They won't have cell phones. What are you talking about? And at the time, it was I think when I first developed it, we had iPhones 4. Yeah. It was the iPhone 4, right?
And so it was true. It was ahead of its time.
It was ahead of its time. And now it's like, who doesn't have a phone, right? So,
yeah, exactly. It would be unusual. So that was cool. And it was fun because we were doing something like really bleeding edge, and it was cool. You were having a lot of fun. You had already developed an app, had you not, at that point?
So I'm a longtime software developer. Most of my career I was in management, tech management, but I started writing software back in my teens. So I won't say how many years ago, but it's more than 30. Yeah. Well, and I've always been.
I remember punch cards.
Yeah, I do too. And I remember paper tape. But anyways, let's not get into that. And so I wanted to get back into programming, and I thought, well, why not? iPhones are the rage. So I taught myself how to write iPhone apps, and I wrote. If anybody's in Ottawa, I wrote the Bus Buddy in Ottawa app, and I have some other apps. I have an AccuShop, a grocery shopping app, which is used by about 4 people, all of them in my family. But if you check it out on the App Store, it's there.
But it's there. There.
I also wrote an app for.
What's that? Sorry, what's that? What is that one called?
AccuShop.
AccuShop.
ACCU shop. And I also wrote an app for when the bikes start coming out, these they have them in Ottawa now too, where you can rent a bike.
Oh, the sharing bike.
Not the scooters, but just a regular bicycle.
Yeah.
For in London, they had. I think they were one of the first cities to come out with it, and there was open data on where the bike stands were and how many bikes were available. So I wrote an app that basically sucked that data in and showed you where the bikes were, so that you can know that there's a bike available there and where to return bikes and stuff like that.
Perfect.
So I've written a couple. I also wrote one for. I wrote one for Ottawa, but I don't think I ever deployed it because I don't think they have the bikes anymore. They've advanced the scooters now. So. Right.
So we kind of, I wouldn't say went our separate ways, but we kind of moved on in our careers, and and then I got into droning. Somehow magically.
You don't say, really?
Yeah, somehow.
Congrats.
And then when the new regulations came out in 2019,
so early 2019, right?
It was January, that they announced the new regulations, and I did a couple of videos, the basic study guide, and then I got into a video series that was all the different rules, and as I started to get into all these crazy rules, it just jumped into my head. Oh my God, how is anyone ever going to keep their their instruction manual and their certificate and checklists and maps and all this stuff. Like you'd be dragging around a box load of stuff every time you try to fly your drone.
Sounds crazy.
And so it jumped into my head, this is perfect for an app. And I called you up.
Well, you sent me an email.
Yeah, well,
Hey, I just found you. I have an idea for an app. I went, oh yeah? One of Don's ideas?
Uh-oh.
And so that was, yes, that was late January, I think, that you sent me that email.
Of 2019, yeah.
And I got, after a couple of days investigating and thinking about it, I got kind of excited by it. And I think I was in Florida on vacation when you sent me that first email. And I did some research in Florida. And then when I got back, I spent basically the next 4 months doing nothing else but writing the app. And our first release, I think, was May of 2019.
Yeah, I think it was May the 2nd or May the 3rd or something.
Yeah, my wife was bringing meals upstairs to my office because I was spending like, basically 15, 16 hours a day there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I tend to do that when I start writing apps. I kind of can't stop.
Can't stop. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was quite a challenge. For sure.
Yeah.
Remember that because we submitted the app before the change of rules in June, we had that toggle on the map which said pre-June whatever and post-June.
Yeah.
Because the shape of the size of the circles around airports changed and all that. Yep. So we had a pre. So yeah, that's gone now.
That's long.
Although the code remains.
I mean, that's kind of classic of how we have done things. We've tried to keep in mind, well, how are people using this app? And in May of 2019, they had to know the May rules, but they might want to know the June rules as well. So we, like you said, we had the toggle there. So yeah.
And that's been throughout. I mean, you basically, provided the requirements and then also how you would want to see it operate as a drone pilot.
Correct.
Right? And it was always like, nah, I don't like that. I like this here. So basically, guys who are watching this video, the app is essentially Dawn, right? It's Dawn's, it's tailored to Dawn specifically.
That's right. If I don't like it, it's not happening.
But we'd have no, I don't want to do that because it's too much work. No, I don't really want to do that. Of course, I end up doing it. Because,
but you know what, Larry?
Because Dawn would never stop bugging me.
I now have figured it out. If you say that it's a lot of work, that means I should wait maybe 3 days and then you'll have it done.
I'll have it done. Yeah, my initial reaction is I don't want to do. That's way too much work. And of course, I always have to think about it. So I was double because I always have to do it on both platforms, right? So it's whenever to do something, it's like, okay, I got to do it again. So
on iOS and Android,
Android, and that's always the painful part. But once I get started on it, it turns out not to be as bad as I thought initially. So I think the hardest feature was the team management.
I was going to say that was probably the most difficult.
I think for both development, design, and testing.
Oh, yes.
All the different scenarios we have to go through because we have to worry about what if you join a team and you want to kick somebody out of the team, and all that. What if they rejoin the team, and what if there's so many different corner cases that can happen on coming in and going out of the team, and all the rest of it. So it was quite complicated. And if you join a team and you have data, you want to have to merge the data together so there's no overlaps, confusion, and so. And
then what happens when they leave? Like, do they take their data with them, or they boot it out? And the suitcase thrown after them.
Or if the case where you had the same data on 2 different devices, now you want to join them into a team, and you've got the same drone, the same pilots, with the same certificates and what have you, and you got to decide, wait, I got duplicates here. Which one do I keep and which one do I not keep, and all that kind of conflict management we had to do. So there was a lot of, like most software development, the main feature is usually not the problem. It's all the stuff around it.
All the weird stuff.
All the weird cases that you have to take care of.
And then trying to make it easy for the person to use it.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't. I think we went through a number of iterations on how this would work. And then I had to figure out the design internally, because essentially, people might not know this, but essentially the internal to the app, there's a database which keeps all of your data. And for the team model, it's also stored on the web. It's stored in a essentially SQL-less server database.
In the cloud.
In the cloud, on Firebase. I use the Firebase service for that. And to be able to make things as efficient as possible, I don't reload the data each time you come in. I only look for deltas that happened while you were offline. So if on another device you had a flight and you come back on, it says, oh, there's one new flight, load that into your local database. So it's always available to you even if you're offline. Because otherwise it wouldn't have worked if you were not on the internet.
If you weren't connected.
So it is local and only refreshed from the web when it has to. So I think that, I have to worry about not, limiting the amount of data transfer for both our costs as well as the user's costs. So a lot of underneath the table complexity there.
Yeah, and I think in the end you did a brilliant job, and I think it works incredibly well. And every time that somebody tries it or asks, hey, how do you do that device synchronization? And I tell them, like 10 minutes later, that it works. This is amazing.
Yeah. Some other apps have you have to press a button to synchronize.
Yeah.
So you got to physically do it, remember that you're doing it and all that. We felt it would be much better if it was just kind of seamless, transparent, and it just happened.
Yeah.
Without any kind of user interaction or anything. It's also good at, the backup was also very important as well. It uses the same kind of mechanism, but it doesn't keep them in sync. Well, actually it does in one direction.
In
so
just the one.
Any change is obviously sent to the web. Important for people changing devices or if they lose their device. I know this data is important to people, so that's why the backup is really important.
Yeah, and then in addition to user data, of course, there's all the airspace data and airports and NOTAMs and all the rest of that going on.
And all the APIs that you use. What happens underneath is there's weather APIs, there's weather forecast APIs, there's APIs to get the elevation. If you tap on the map and it shows you how the elevation, that's an API. That's actually a Government of Canada one that they provide free of charge.
Cool.
Very nice. There's APIs to get, DJI information and others. So there's all sorts of different APIs that are being used to gather information beyond what's stored within the app itself.
Right, and an API, for those who don't know, is an application programming interface. Basically, a mechanism.
What it is the app goes to the web and it gets data back in a very well-defined format that it can then process. And so, rather than going to a web page and scanning the web page, in the early days, that's what people would do. They would scrape the data coming back from the web page to get the information. It's called data scraping.
Yeah.
But this is like an app, an API, which actually gives you a very well-structured data coming back with field names and field values.
Right, and it's the only way to do this kind of stuff, to make sure that you're getting reliable information and all the rest. So that's really cool. Where do you think we're going to go from here with Drone Pilot Canada?
Well, every time we put out a release, I say, that's it. There's nothing left to do.
Right? That's it, we're done.
And I said that over a year ago, right? I said, well, what else is there to do? You have little niggly things here and there, like put a distance measure in, and so we put the circles in, then you can change the size of the circles, and then things of that nature, right? And but I don't know, we've added about 4 releases of major stuff since then.
Major stuff.
But I think we're done. I think there's nothing else to do.
No. But to be clear, when we say we're done, that means we're going to continue to support the app, keep the data updates.
Oh, I think there's more features. I just don't know what they are yet. There's always things out there.
There's always things. In fact, I posted a thing, I don't know whether you noticed it on Facebook, asking people for ideas. Like
I saw that. Yeah. but it's good to know that most of the people asking things are already there. So that's
there's some good ideas.
Fine, I'm not sure.
But
I know the app has so much stuff. You can't keep track of all of it. Yeah, I mean, the challenge on apps like this is that as you keep changing it and adding things to it, sometimes the app gets kind of like uneven a little bit in terms of the UI or stability and stuff like that. So that's something I've got to be careful about as well, to make sure it doesn't get too out of the mainstream.
Right. And one of the design objectives I recall that we talked about early days was we want to keep this as simple to use as possible. Right. In fact, I think I said at the time, if I ever end up writing a user manual, we have failed.
But you did.
But I did.
I guess we failed.
But it's a.
Well, I think most things, like once you navigate the dot menus and the hamburger menus and stuff like that, and I think all the screens operate in a very similar fashion. So yeah. Once you get, I think the main screen is the most complicated because there's so much going on there in terms of moving around the screen, tapping on the screen, making your circles, distance measurements, being able to start flight plans, and but I think the flight plan one, I think that I was a bit worried about at the beginning, but I think it kind of worked out.
It is absolutely brilliant. I love that flight plan feature. Like, it's just so complete and it's so easy to do. It's just so natural.
I had to figure out how to create a PDF file, which I'd never done before. So
yeah.
A lot of firsts for me as well in all this.
Yeah.
I had to write a whole PDF driver to be able to format text and in a reasonable way, know when I get to the end of the page and how wide the page is. It was a bit of a challenge, but then it's got done.
There's a lot of tricky stuff in here that people wouldn't even imagine.
I spent a lot of hours on that.
I know you did, and I really appreciate it. And I know our users out there appreciate it as well. So Larry, maybe we should wrap it up at this point. Wrap up the video, not the app.
Oh.
So thanks for coming on camera. I know I've been kind of the face of Drone Pilot Canada, but
and a good face it is.
Yeah. What's that? Sorry.
And a good face it is.
Oh, well, there you go.
Does everybody know about our webpage?
Do you? What webpage is that?
What page? www.dronepilotcanada.com.
There we go.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun building that thing as well. The first time I ever built a JavaScript application, so to show the data off of a team only, right? Get the member of a team to see it.
Yet another, just an amazing little piece of Drone Pilot Canada is the fact that you can see the data. I remember the first time you said, "Hey, try this," and I what is this? Holy cow! There's all my flights.
Yeah. The thing is that some people wonder why only if you're in a team, because if you're not doing a backup or in a team, the data doesn't exist anywhere but your app. So obviously you can't have a portal for it. And the backup thing it's a backup. It's not really a place where you want to change things, right? So the whole editing or uploading stuff doesn't make sense for a backup. So that's why you got to be a member of a team, even if you're the only one in the team. So all you have to do is join a team, be the only one in a team, and you can then access your data off the
There you go. Yeah. Fantastic. And you know what? Maybe we should wrap up the video at this point. So thanks, Larry, for coming on camera.
Thanks for inviting me. It's good to see you. Haven't seen you for a while.
That's true. Yeah, with the pandemic and all. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and hope you've enjoyed meeting Larry and some of the strange things that have gone on between us as we've developed this and some of the challenges that we faced. And Drone Pilot Canada, built by Canadians for Canadian drone pilots. Thanks for watching. So I have to be careful to look at my camera. I'm not good at that.
Well, I mean, when we're doing, we're always looking at the screen, not the camera.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
You need a camera in the middle of the screen.
I don't know why they don't do that.
They should.
They should. Yeah. Okay.
Edit in the screen. Yeah, let's invent that.
This will be in the blooper part at the end.
Of course.
Yes.
The whole thing will be a blooper reel.
Ew.
The whole video.
Blooper reel. Okay, here we go. So just be ready to say whatever you're going to say to being the wizard.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Don from DonDronesOn.